everybody, Jaymes Mansfield here, and Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. I'm excited to be coming back to you guys with yet another video. Now in today's video, I'm gonna be doing two of my favorite things in the whole wide world. Doing my drag makeup and talking about Mariah Carey. Yes! Y'all don't know this, I'm a certified lamb. I was back on MariahCarey.com on her official social network she had for lambs. The whole bit, that was my whole middle school life, okay? This is a very fun video for me because I wanted to talk about the history of Mariah Carey and why she's that. Specifically when it comes to Christmas time. Why is she so successful at Christmas time? What is the deal with that song? Also, I'm coming at you more festive than usual. I don't really know how to wear these Santa hats, but it's more or less, you know, for the festive holiday spirit, and also I'm having a bad hair day. But that's neither here nor there. Anyways, let's get started.
Before we begin, we have a message from our sponsor.
I want to say that this video is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped is one of the leading brands in men's grooming, and it is Jaymes Mansfield approved. With Manscaped, you can get great products like the Lawnmower 4.0 or the Perfect Package System, which comes with a free pair of boxers, papers to catch all your droppings on, as well as some fun, fabulous scents for your body, like the Crop Reviver, and wonderful products to partner with your Manscaped option. Yes! If you use my code JAYMESM, you'll save 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Take my word for it, otherwise I wouldn't be Jaymes Manscaped. Get your Manscaped today!
Now I've already glued on my eyebrows, as you already know, so we're just gonna get started with doing our foundations and contours. Now, I like to think of Mariah Carey a bit like Elvira in the sense that she owns a specific holiday. Like, Elvira is the queen of Halloween. Like, she has that locked down, ain't no one taking that away from her. Mariah Carey is very much that same way. Me and Ernie were brainstorming, like, who is it that really just has a chokehold on Christmas? Mariah. Honestly. Like, given the accolades that All I Want for Christmas Is You has had, I got to wondering, like, why is that song so successful? Like, what is it about it that we keep coming back to it? So I wanted to, like, do a little digging, a little history, and I learned a few things that I thought were actually kind of poignant, and I want to talk about it. So, the song initially starts out, Mariah Carey is approached by her record label about making a holiday album. Now, mind you, this is 2 years after her debut album, Vision of Love, and she's already had her second album, Emotions, out. So she's already had a really, really successful career. We're talking Grammys, #1 singles, like she is on top of the world. She just keeps pumping out hits. The record label gets a wild hair up their ass and thinks, why don't we do a Christmas album with Mariah? She's this great big diva. She's one of the biggest pop stars in the world. What would that be like? So they approached Mariah Carey about that, unbeknownst to them that she goes hard for Christmas. They had no idea about this, and it was kind of an absurd idea to start with because no artist at that time was releasing Christmas albums. Like, it was something you did, like, when your contract was about to be up and you had to make, like, that album quota. No artist actually took Christmas albums as seriously as she did. There were a couple rare few, but for the most part, most artists just released a single and there you go. No one ever really put that much time and dedication into producing, like, a full-on, like, length album of original tracks. It's usually standards, kind of throwaway, a lot of covers, but Mariah Carey actually jumped at this opportunity because, like I said, she goes hard for Christmas. Now, Mariah Carey loved the idea of doing a Christmas album because, like I said, homegirl loves the holidays. She don't play around when it comes to Christmas. Oh, you guys see this? It's the Lunar Beauty contour palette. I'm actually really liking it. I'm not mad at it. I think it's cute. Look at all those options. All the little makeup looks I'm going to do, all the makeovers. I cannot wait. Not sponsored anyway. Just wanted to shout that out because I really like it. But no, she said in interviews that she wanted to take a different approach with this album. And what she means by that is she wanted to make something that was more timeless. Something that didn't seem like a cheap cash-in, because most Christmas albums had that vibe. Like, it reeks of the get-out-of-jail-free card with your record contract. Do a Christmas album of standards and boom, you're out. You can do whatever you want. She wanted it to seem like she actually really cared about this. Because she did. So she did a lot of research. According to her, she went to upstate New York and stayed in a cabin to, like, really feel the Christmas spirit, which is, like, so Mariah when you think about it. Like, I gotta get into the Christmas spirit. Let me book away a nice remote cabin in the snow so I can get into the Christmas mood. Like, okay, girl, love that for you. This is a woman that owns an island. Love it. Anyways, She was married to Tommy Mottola at the time, so there was money to throw around. But yes, she went to a remote cabin to get into the holiday spirit and write this album. Or at least cook up ideas of what to do with this album. Now, the story goes, she was tinkering on a piano, and the medley to the opening started to come to her. Like, do, 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 do. And like, bam, inspiration strikes. She starts going through her mind of like, what are some typical Christmas tropes you think of? You know, presents, Santa, you know. But why not make it about love, too? Because everyone loves love, you know, we all like to feel that. And she was doing research with classic Christmas albums, specifically A Christmas Gift to You from Phil Spector, which is not an album Phil Spector sings on, it's just, you know, that was kind of the producer he was. He used all the great bands that were on his label and then slapped his name on it like, you know, this is me. But it's really the Ronettes, the Crystals, Bobby Sox, and the Blue Jeans. It's a great album, which actually has similar parallels to this album, but I'll get to that in a minute. She was specifically inspired by songs by like the Ronettes and Darlene Love, you know, like Sleigh Ride, the classic Ronettes version, as well as Christmas Baby Please Come Home, which actually ended up a cover on this album. She wanted to make something that stood the test of time and seemed like timeless to people's ears, like immediately brings you to that nostalgia. She wanted like a wall of sound kind of production, which is what Phil Spector was known for. That was his signature style. The wall of sound is essentially a room that Phil Spector built in his studio where he had a bunch of different musicians playing a bunch of different instruments, all playing together, and it created this wall of noise that when it came through the speakers in the recording booth, it sounded incredible. It's like dreamlike. She wanted that kind of production on her Christmas album. And unbeknownst to her, she didn't realize at this time just how effective her voice is with that production. Like, it is beautiful. She has the perfect voice for that kind of musical production. So a genius move. So she has the inspiration, it's in its barest bones, and she goes to the studio and begins production. And she says that she fully decked out the studio in Christmas lights. She put a tree in there. Like, she wanted to make sure it just stunk of the holidays. Just to make sure no other thought ever came across to her mind while she was recording this album. Which again, the most Mariah Carey thing you ever heard. It's like saying, I'm gonna write a song about diamonds. I'm gonna make sure the recording studio is just dripping in diamonds. Now, a little off topic, but I thought this was kind of fascinating. When Mariah Carey was talking about In the Meaning of Mariah, her book, that's right, I read. She was mentioning about how the holidays weren't necessarily the happiest memories she had as a child. So with this album, was a sort of rewrite history in her mind so that she has a forever happy memory in her mind when she thinks of Christmas time. I thought that was actually kind of fascinating. Like, what a nice therapeutic way of dealing with past memories you don't really want to think of when it comes to Christmas time, especially if you have a family that you don't necessarily get along with. You create something that is so beautiful, that touches so many people. That's constantly what you think of when you think of Christmas time, which is also kind of interesting why she dedicates so much to this Christmas album and why it keeps getting brought up with her. So the record label was really pushing for a original song. And unlike a lot of Christmas albums, this actually features quite a few original songs. Most of the time it's just filled up with standards or whatever cheap thing they can license and record on a bad Casio beat. I've heard a lot of bad Christmas music working in department stores, so trust me, this one actually really does stand out. And you do get in a good mood when you hear it. It does stand alone as far as production goes. And that's really a big thank in part to its producer, Walter A. That's what he goes by professionally. His last name, I'll put it right here because I cannot pronounce it. I really have the hardest time pronouncing it, which is probably why he just goes by Walter A. But he is a frequent collaborator when it came to Mariah, and he created a lot of the medleys to those beautiful songs that she wrote. A lot of the hits he produced. So they got together and they combined the wall of sound with this track that she had written. And by God, I don't think they realized just what impact this song would have, especially when it came out, because the album did brings me back to my point earlier about A Christmas Gift to You from Phil Spector. That album was beyond a sleeper hit. It was basically, it became a hit well after the fact. Every holidays, people would rediscover it and DJs would play the stuff on the radio, and that's how it became, you know, constantly in circulation. The replay value is there every single year. And this song originally didn't really even crack the top 10 when it came out. Because one thing they didn't factor in back in 1994 when the song was released was streaming. Because, well, it didn't exist. So streaming was also a huge part as to why the song has lived on for as long as it has. Now this song was so successful that Billboard itself often refers to its holiday charts as the All I Want for Christmas Is You charts, because that's the song that tops it every single year. But one thing I don't think anyone anticipated on was that this song would actually break the top 10 in the Hot 100. According to Mariah, it was not a gigantic hit when it was released. However, upon further research, I have discovered that this album actually made it to like number 3 on the Billboard charts. It wasn't a monster success comparative to like her albums she released prior, because it was a holiday album, but still, you know, that's just, you know, the way people tell stories is always entertaining to me. You know, never let the truth get in the way of telling a good story. I love that. 45,000 copies on its initial release, which is like, damn, for a Christmas album? Okay. That's pretty good. And would go on to become a fairly decent hit for Mariah when it was released. Not great as compared to like Vision of Love or Emotion or anything prior to that. And again, it was released, the Christmas single did what it did, and she moved on and started doing other projects. But what makes this record, specifically All I Want for Christmas, so interesting to me is the fact that it keeps re-entering the charts every year. And every year it pushes higher and higher and higher. Like, if you look at even the low points in Mariah Carey's career, like after she broke up with Luis Miguel and she was going through a lot, this song still charted. Like, it was still the old faithful in Mariah's catalog that consistently just brings in the revenue each year. And I keep wondering, why is that? I would have to say the reason why this song has endured so long is, well, nostalgia. The exact reason as to why it was created in the first place was to basically play off the nostalgia Mariah had for classic Christmas records. And she was successful in creating something completely unique that is associated only with her. One would say she was very, very successful in creating a memory for herself that is happy when it comes to Christmas time. You know, goal achieved. Ah! I messed up one of my eyes. Woo! Okay, we're finishing up. Now, remember how I mentioned before how the song didn't really ever chart like that as far as Billboard Hot 100 goes? Well, that was before streams. Now, when we factor in streams, the song actually charted for the first time on the Hot 100 in 2019, which is around the time like a lot of the buzz was starting to come up again about the song. All the memes started, everyone was acting like they hate it every time the song comes on. Lo and behold, they're in their car hoping no one's watching as they know every single line and sings along to it. Yeah, I see you. You've done it. You liked it. You've always liked it. You know every word. Don't play. Stop fronting. No one's impressed. Yes, so, according to the numbers, this song was streamed 45.6 million times. Holy shit, that's a lot. With 27,000 digital sales sold. Like, holy. This woman owns an island. Just bear that in mind. And what I think I like most about this is she could be like any other artist and get super butthurt about the fact that people are like memeing and kind of clowning on her about the song. Mariah's fully leaned into it. Like, I don't know any other artist that goes through the levels of campaigning that she does every single December now. Like, she completely is going along with the memes. Like the one she posted this year where she smashes the pumpkins with the candy cane, iconic. She knows. And she knows I'm about to make me some money. And I don't understand the people that are out there mad that Mariah Carey is getting her bag. She owns it, she owns this song, and she is owning Christmas. Point blank, period. Lord help me, I've never drawn my lips this thin before. The longevity of this song is actually quite impressive. Just this year, she actually went diamond for this song. When something goes diamond, that means it has sold over 1 billion copies. To be exact, she has sold, let me check her Instagram because I know she just recently posted about it. I want to get the exact numberage because I love bragging up Mariah. 1 billion worldwide streams. #1 greatest of all time holiday songs. Girl, you know Bing Crosby is just rolling in his grave. When it went #1 in 2019, it became her 19th #1 single. Like, the lady's racks speak for itself. What was crazy to me is, like, being the biggest Mariah stan that I am, I was shocked that song wasn't already #1. I thought it was. It goes to show what I know. All right, well, I'm gonna pop on my look and I'll be right back and we'll wrap this up like a present. Be right back.
Welcome back. This is the final result. Oh my God, I feel like Mariah Carey right now. I did a few little changes to the makeup to make it like work for me. I added a little concealer to the cheeks so I noticed they were sitting kind of low and looking a little saggy. I also did a little tweak on the nose and made the lips a little darker because that thin lip fantasy looks gorgeous on her but not on me, okay? I'll finish up our story about Mariah Carey. The reason this song has lasted as long as it has is honestly because of nostalgia. I mean, most people try to write it off as streams, but the fact of the matter is that people keep rediscovering the song and remembering the song, and that's why it has lived on for as long as it has. That's the magic of Mariah Carey. Like, you cannot deny the girl's talented, and she struck gold with this song. And from a personal note, I have to say, like, this is one of the few moments when I was working in department stores that when you heard this song, you felt a little better. It's right up there with the Phil Spector classics by the Ronettes and the Crystals and Darling Love. Every time I heard those songs, I felt better about where I was. And it made life a little nicer. That is the whole point of why she wrote that song. So she had a lovely, lovely memory of her own creation that took the place of all the unpleasant ones she had growing up. And I think that's beautiful. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this little makeup transformation, history lesson, whatever you want to call this. We're still workshopping a title. Oh, and do you like my lashes? They are The Evening Show by Jaymes Mansfield Beauty. Oh my gosh, I should go do a pop-up brunch right now. This is ridiculous. Oh my gosh. I feel like I look a little bit like her. I mean, if I had a little more time to tweak things, it could be completely there. But this is my first time trying this. I feel really good about this. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you want to hear more of my little pop culture musings, let me know and I'll create more of these. I honestly had a lot of fun doing this. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, bye. One high note for the road. She does that thing with the hand, like. Okay, we're done.
Now hit the outro. Click here and see me recreate my Delia Von White Woman wig from The Bee Who Stole Christmas. Or see me react to the teaser trailer for The Bee Who Stole Christmas. Christmas! Come on, click it, you know you want to. If you don't click it, I'll sing an off-key cover of All I Want for Christmas Is You for you on a loop.